Once again, we are back with the Prospect Talk podcast.
Welcome back, boys.
What's going on?
What's going on?
How's everyone doing?
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, I feel that.
You guys are back with Danny, Doug, Eli, Fernando. Once again, we got a lot on the docket to talk about today.
Yeah. Sports.
It's a recurring theme with us.
Yeah, I love it. Gives me an opportunity to talk shit to Doug.
Something you love to do.
To be honest with you, I think it just boils down to this is what happens when you're as knowledgeable about sports as we are.
Yeah.
You know, we know it all. That's just what it boils down to. We know it all. We can cover it all. We can talk about it all.
I agree with that. You guys agree?
I could see your Eli's ego rubbing off on you a little bit.
Maybe it was my ego rubbing off on Eli, and I was letting him have the spotlight for a couple episodes.
Either way, I appreciate the comp.
How Nando's the fence, Eli's tries to be the spotlight.
Ooh, damn, shots fired. Shots fired.
See, he cut me off, so I just blocked off whatever he just said.
All right, no, in all seriousness, we got pretty much, once again, talking a little bit about everything. Basketball, football, baseball, soccer, the whole nine. I think the first thing we got on the docket is NBA, right? We've got the playoffs going on, so there's a lot to talk about there. I think for me, the first thing I want to talk about is, and it's been talked about so far through the playoffs a lot, is the officiating. So we're seeing a lot of controversy and things like that. But my question for you guys is, do you think the officiating is the problem, or do you think it's the players complaining and whining and being babies?
We're unfortunately in an era of soft basketball.
Facts.
Elaborate on that. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, when we were younger, watching games like Kobe playing, for example, against the Celtics or whatnot, and you can go from there back. You know, refereeing, they were more lenient towards, you know, guys in the paint. I remember seeing an interview, not an interview actually, just like a shot on the floor where Kendrick Perkins went up to the ref before the game, and he was like, "Hey, me and him, we're gonna be going back and forth all night," and the ref was like, "I'm cool with it." You know, like just that era of tough basketball doesn't exist anymore.
The Pistons made it like their team motto.
So you think it's the referees not giving enough leeway to the players? You think that's what it is? So you're saying that the problems with the officiating?
I think it's a little bit of both. Because what we're saying the problem is there's too many calls, or are we saying that? Because I feel like the players are complaining there's not enough calls, right?
Yeah, I think that's the.
So that's why I'm saying it's not the officiating. I think it's the players.
I think the players are complaining more than anything.
Yeah, that's what I think is going on.
From both sides, when the foul's not called, when the foul is called, like all these players act like they just committed a murder.
It's just a lot of whining.
So here's what I think. I think Eli's on a right track for me. I think, you know, the NBA the game has been changed so significantly where they do call a lot softer fouls. So, but I think when it gets to the playoffs, they start allowing a lot of stuff to go by. So now all these players were so used to getting these weak-ass foul calls, and now they're not getting them, and now this is when they start complaining.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think it's a mixture of both. It's like you can't really blame it on either. It's a chicken or the egg conversation.
But I don't agree with that. If you just look at it, not just in the MLB, NFL, soccer, like MLB, like there's just been people complaining.
You said
about
not
sports.
only in the MLB.
Oh, my bad.
NBA.
Not only in the NBA. In all those sports.
Don't let this guy talk down to you. We knew what you meant.
Yeah, but the many listeners might not know what you're talking about and be like, this guy's an idiot. Which I should have just let them to continue to think like that.
You know?
But
I mean, I think people would think that already.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, like all those sports, you see players constantly arguing with the officials, complaining about calls, what they didn't call, what they did call. I think it's just this new era of like sports where everything's so like.
You think players are entitled?
Yeah. Like everything's like so marketed for the players now where they're out there on social media. People get to know them.
Last time I checked, we watched for the players, not for the officiating. So
yeah,
I'm perfectly okay with that.
But this is where they take it to the next level, where they make a huge deal out of it. Instead of talking about the Rockets versus the Warriors, we're talking about, oh, was that a foul? Was that not a foul? Which is, honestly, in my opinion, too annoying.
So I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I don't agree.
I mean, I think it takes away from like the game in itself a little bit, and it's kind of a distraction. It's unfortunate, but it's hard to not say that they're not in. That you don't get like the sense of entitlement now with the players. Like they do look for the fouls, and they're always kind of like messing with the refs and stuff. But I gotta go with Danny on it. Like when it gets to playoff time, the refs do try to let things go a little bit, but because they're used to 82 games of like, maybe they can get away with some things. They're like, yo, what's different now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They start complaining now because they've been so used to getting those calls that they were trying to get before.
Yeah.
And now they're not getting them, and that's why they're complaining. So I think it's a cause and effect. I think both parties are at fault with that. And I think there needs to be more consistency with the kind of calls that, that are coming out. I don't think in regular season and the playoffs it should be different. The way you call the game is the way you call the game.
I agree with that.
And unfortunately, it's been like that for almost ever. In the playoffs, they do allow a lot of things to go,
So that's tough because there's such a spotlight on those individual games in the playoffs that like there's more scrutiny for the refs, to like maybe let things slide a little bit for the sake of
that's very true.
In the regular season, there's so much of the regular season that maybe they're like, all right, you can get this foul here or there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then also, like, when you think of the playoffs, like, when it comes to playoff time, the players up their game, and you kind of think, in a sense, like, the refs got to up their game. If that makes sense. We're kind of, Nando was saying, they're in more of a spotlight, so they kind of want to officiate the game the way people think it should be officiated.
So, I'm a firm believer in good officiating is when you don't notice that the refs are there.
I agree.
Yeah.
When you start noticing that this ref made this call or this ref made this call or he's getting into an altercation with this ref, that's when it's bad officiating. I don't care if it's the right call or anything like that. If you have the game under control and you are a good ref or a good umpire in baseball or anything like that, you are non-existent. The fans don't know who you are.
So let me bring up this question. Talking about NBA officiating, where so many of these foul calls are up for interpretation. What's the correct solution for this? Is it adding additional refs or officials onto the court?
That gets in the way.
Is it more like changing the rule book for less interpretation?
Well,
what's the best approach for that?
In the NBA rulebook, there is a lot of gray area. And I think
I feel it's mostly gray area.
There's a ton of gray area.
I think if you opened up the book, it was just gray. Like, there was no words. It's a gray book.
Dude, that was corny as hell. No, but I really think you see different refs calling different kinds of games. So, and I don't think that's ever going to go away until they sit down and create a more concrete rule book. But in my opinion, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
So more for the player aspect, how do you get players to stop complaining so much?
You can't. We live in the player empowerment era of basketball.
Yeah. I don't think there is a way to get them to stop complaining.
So previously you tried doing like technical fouls, didn't work. Like anything creative ways you guys could think of?
Unfortunately, these guys make so much money that fines don't work.
No, Stan Van Gundy is always on there talking about players should get suspended. Going to extreme.
Suspensions would work, especially if you're talking about playoffs.
Suspensions would 100% work, without a doubt. The only thing is,
you can't be too harsh. Like, you can't ruin a team's chance over.
Yeah, you can't give that kind of power to the referees because,
to determine a series.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially in the NBA where it's more like one player could count for so much of it.
Exactly, because we don't want the officials to determine games, yet alone series.
Yeah.
So let me ask this question too. So, given the fact that these refs pretty much, they have the control of the game, like they control the tempo and everything, do you think that these refs ever feel like they have, more of an authority than the players do? That's why they make those calls, or that's why they do things that they do sometimes?
So I think that the refs sometimes overcompensate because there is so much complaining and there's so much backlash from the players. So they overcompensate by being boisterous and not making calls and things like that. Yeah, exactly. Now with social media, that never happened 10, 15 years ago. And now every call gets analyzed to the T. So,
and then you got replays of it on SportsCenter.
Exactly. So the referees are more on edge and more with their backs, against the wall more than ever.
I think these players, for the most part, don't treat the refs that great, right? And they're still humans. And we've talked about it before, how you treat the referees, probably how they're going to officiate the game. Like if Chris Paul is there continuously
Chris Paul is known for it.
Okay, All right, let me use another name.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
okay.
That's why he gets officiated a little bit differently.
Well, not just
Quick
Chris
on the
Paul.
whistle.
I'm just trying to say anybody. If you're touching the ref, you're in the face. He's not going to give you a crucial call in a crucial moment because how you've treated him throughout that game.
And you know, me and Eli grew up playing baseball, and I think in baseball it's the most prevalent. Like, you go up to the plate, you want that ump to be on your side, so you get those strike calls. Or you get those ball calls on the edges of the plate. So, you know, when I was playing, like, you know, 15, 16, I'd go up and be like, "What's up, Blue? How you doing today?" Blah, blah, blah.
You need a water. What's
Like,
up?
yeah.
It's hot. You know, you
Striking
always
up a
want the
combo,
blue on your
like,
side.
Yeah, you need to get them on their side. And unfortunately, I don't think the NBA players really care. They're going to get in the ref's face regardless. Now, speaking of Chris Paul, we saw him get ejected in the last couple seconds of game 1. We saw him get fined. Do you guys think that was a warranted ejection?
I think the ejection, because it was a second technical. I think he did deserve the technical because he did touch the ref, and it's clearly, like, every player knows that you're not supposed to touch referees no matter what level of sports you're playing. So I think the fine was correct. I'm glad there was no suspension because that would have been unwarranted, but he should have been fined.
What do you think, Nando?
I think if he would have gotten suspended, it would have been a conspiracy. Or back-to-back years.
Damn right. I would have been leading it, too.
All right. But no, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I got to ride with Doug again.
Hey, my boy.
Bro, I'm so disappointed
I
in you.
disagree. The reason why I disagree was because at some point there needs to be some type of common sense and some type of, intellectual judgment where it wasn't him like shoving the ref or getting in the ref's face. It was he was like tapping the ref, being like, "Yo, look," like, and he's trying to like show him something because the ref is not like looking where he needs to look. I don't think that warranted an ejection in a technical. I think the ref got overzealous there, and he was like, "Oh, he's touching me. I'm calling it. He's out of the game."
I think there was a lot going on, and it was getting hostile, and I think that's what warranted the ejection. But yet alone, it didn't like determine the outcome of the game because there was like 2 seconds left.
Well, to be clear, he wasn't ejected for it. He got a second technical, which caused ejection.
But let's be
real.
real.
I'm saying. I agree with Doug because the reason why he got that technical was, because he did that to the ref, and like that's not okay. You know what I mean? If that warrants.
But the refs are taught. Like, that's like number one. If any player touches you, it's automatic technical.
Bro, how many times do you see guys go and touch the ref? You see it all the time.
Not really.
Nah, but I don't think so. I don't think you see it all the time. And I think now that's happened in the very first game, nobody's going to touch the refs anymore. And it kind of set, a precedent for the rest of the series.
I think that's weak as hell.
We're in a weak-ass, era of basketball.
I think you need to use judgment. And as a ref, I need to be like, okay, he's not touching me to be demonstrative. Like, I'm going to use my better judgment. He's just trying to get my attention to look at a certain part of the court. As a ref, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to tee this guy up. I'm going to tell him, like, hey, you're not supposed to touch me. I think it was too quick on the whistle for that.
But what if the referee did give him that tack and the ejection because he knew it wasn't going to determine the outcome of the game, and he just wanted to set it straight with everybody else? Like,
but
hey,
that's not the ref's job.
No, but
the ref's job isn't to make an example out of any player.
Well, I think you do have to.
No, that's not what they're there for. That's what you have the league office for.
No, I think you have to.
The sole purpose is to call the game and to call the game. That's it. Not to push any agenda. Not to push any precedent.
Like they said though, that's part of the rules. He's doing his job. He's not doing anything outside the rule book. And I think if it was a more severe situation, if it was a third quarter close game and he makes that call and gets him ejected, then I think you have more of a point. But because of the time that it happened, I think if there's a time that you're going to throw somebody out and give them that second tech, I think this was the time to do it.
I would have understood it if he grabbed him, if he pushed him, or if he blocked his pathway or anything like that. But if you literally watch it, he's literally just like nudging him with like the back of his forearm, like, yo, like, look. That's weak as hell to me. I'm sorry.
It might be, but I think if you're going to do it, I think he did it at the right time.
But what happens when that happens in the second or the third quarter, and now you just ejected their second best player?
Well, then we're having a different conversation. But he did it, and that's why I said, if you're going to do it, I think this is the time to do it.
I think that's a bad precedent to set.
No, it's not. That's letting them know, like, hey, I'm not messing around. Don't touch me.
I guess I feel like that's an overzealous referee.
I don't know. I disagree.
So
Do you think part of why that happened was because Chris Paul is who he is?
No.
I think regardless of any player, if it was
No,
Draymond,
I think Draymond. I'm not going to defend Draymond, but I think Draymond gets a little tougher.
What's
What was
up,
that,
Nando?
Fernando?
I was going to say that I think that this specific situation was like the way that the game was flowing, and like Eli said, like, you know, he felt like he could have done this at this time. It wasn't because of his history and stuff. Maybe that's a little bit. Maybe he had that in the back of his mind or something. I don't know.
But do
I
you think the
it's more
whistle
specific on the
becomes
actual game.
quicker because it is Chris Paul? I mean, Doug already said it 2 minutes ago. You know, Chris Paul gets called differently than a lot of NBA players.
And I agree with that. I do think it does matter who it is. I think when I hate Draymond Green, and I make that known. But I was watching Game 2, and Draymond did something. It wasn't too crazy. It was him and Nene.
they were just arguing.
Yeah, they were, right? And the ref turned around, and the first person he saw was Draymond. Bro, he made the quickest tee I've ever seen in my life. But I think if that's Steph, he thinks about it.
True.
Yeah.
And same with Chris Paul.
Same with like Boogie.
Yeah, like Boogie, Chris Paul, these guys. I mean, and it's not the ref's fault. I mean,
But it's not the ref's job to make judgments based off of who they are. You make the judgment, it should be uniform.
Oh, yeah,
That's just human nature.
It's
though.
human nature. I'm not saying it's right, but it's human nature.
Well, of course, it's going to happen. But I think that's a major flaw in... I think when it comes to second techs and ejections, I think that second tech needs to be reviewed by the entire officiating crew. Because an ejection, especially in the playoffs, can alter a game to such a crazy degree that it shouldn't just be allowed to be one person's say and that's it. I think that allows for too many refs that potentially might not like a guy to have a quicker whistle than normal.
That's tough. That's real tough, to be honest. Because then that kind of sets like I don't know, it puts it in the air where when a ref does something, the player's going to just try him and check and be like, no, talk to your buddy. And that kind of gives the ref no authority.
And then you're gonna get that
You see that in
reviews. You're gonna
baseball.
like psychoanalyze every
Well, no, you
little
don't-
body
that-
language.
You don't allow the like replay review for that. But you see that in baseball all the time.
You do with strikes and balls. And
like
actually a lot of the
check-ins,
calls. Calls with baseball. But it's a different sport. It's not as intense as it is in basketball.
And
There's
also
not
going to technical, it might be something the player said that the other refs didn't hear, so you can't really. It's not really something you see and you look at unless it's like physical.
So while we're on officiating, my question for you guys is the NBA 2-minute report that they release at the end of games. Do you think that's good or bad for the league in terms of fan interaction and everything like that?
I think that like it doesn't help anybody out. And if anything, it causes more like of a headache. You know, like you didn't catch it on the spot, so why are you digging yourself a bigger hole and saying that, oh yeah, we should have done this differently? No, like just move on, go with it. Like you're gonna just make more fans angry for the team that lost or didn't get the call in the end.
Exactly.
I agree. I definitely think they should still be reviewing them and submit those reports to the referees that were on that game.
But it shouldn't be publicized.
It shouldn't be publicized.
I don't think it should be publicized unless it's like a big situation like the Harden foul at the end of the game.
Yeah, I don't think it should be publicized just because you have that call that should go the opposite way, and then now people are saying, well, what if this and what if that? And if enough calls like that happen in a single game series, now people are saying, oh well, that team didn't deserve to advance to the next round, this and this and that, and then now you're diminishing what that team has done. I don't like it.
Somebody write down the time and the date. Because this is the first time we've all agreed on one topic, guys. I'm so proud of all of you for actually thinking logically for once.
Hold on, I might have to change my stance real quick.
No, you guys hit it on the nose. I mean, it makes no sense to start controversy for no reason.
Yeah, that's just asking to draw attention to yourself and be like, oh, we made a mistake. We want to show you we know we made a mistake. Well, cool, you can't change anything about it. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I think Steve Kerr said it best on his in his interview conference, whatever, where he pretty much said like any coach reviews the tape could say, oh, they missed this call, we lost the game because of this.
That's
like, you
part
could
of
review
any
that.
game.
Yeah, any game.
But as an athlete, what do they tell you? Like, even when you're a little kid growing up playing sports, what do they tell you? After the game, it's on to the next one. It's on to the next one. Don't be worrying about the calls that happened in the last one. You know, the out that you made in baseball, the shot that you didn't miss in basketball. On to the next game. Stop worrying about the last one. I think that's what the NBA needs to follow suit to.
Agreed.
And if you have such an issue, don't let the game come down to where the official can determine the outcome of the game.
Yeah. Like I said, I think they should still review it and use that as coaching opportunities for the referees that were in that game if they did make mistakes, but don't publicize it. It also devalues the referees.
So you know what's been publicized a lot lately? Kevin Durant and where he stands on Mount Rushmore of the NBA today. And a lot of people are saying he is the best player in the league.
Nah.
That's my boy KD.
Absolutely not. He's the best scorer in the league.
That needs to be altered. Not just for best player. I think offensively, yeah, he's probably the most unstoppable player. But all around, you still got to give it to the,
I think you have to give it to LeBron. And the fact that he's not in the playoffs and KD is shining in the playoffs, that people have forgotten about LeBron. And it's so easy to say Kevin Durant's the best player now because that's all we're watching. All right?
And we all know playoff LeBron's a different person.
Yeah.
Playoff LeBron's one of the best to play of all time, if not the best.
I can still today say confidently, if you swap KD and LeBron in a lot of the positions they have been, KD won't succeed the way LeBron did. And bring in a
different players, different play styles. Like the team would have to. If they were building a team around KD, the players would be completely different.
So the thing is, you can build a team around LeBron. I don't think you can build a team around KD.
I don't think so either.
Name a successful team that was built around KD.
You can say that about pretty much any player.
No, you can't.
You can't.
Because I just told you can build a team around LeBron.
Golden State Warriors were built around Steph Curry.
You can build around Steph. He's a guy you can build around.
I think you could build around KD. Why can't you build around a transition?
But what I'm saying is you haven't seen a team successfully been built around KD. I don't think he has that in him.
That's because nobody ever tried building a team around KD.
OKC has for 7 to 8 years.
What do you mean?
No, they've been trying to build a team around Russ.
No,
that's after KD left.
Russ and KD, both of those players.
Okay, but they're still trying to build it around KD.
Yeah.
Exactly.
KD was the number one guy there. Of course, they're going to try to build the game around him, like their team around him.
I feel like they switched alpha positions, really. Like, it was KD, Westbrook taking turns.
Nah.
But, like, they grew up around the same
KD's not a guy that you can build a team around.
Oh, I disagree completely.
He doesn't have elite defense to be considered the best player.
Have you not seen him play? When he wants to play elite defense, he can. It's like LeBron. Like LeBron does not play elite defense anymore.
Now because he's older, right?
Yeah,
so LeBron doesn't want to. And he's also been on teams where they're not good defensive teams. So he has to conserve majority of his energy for scoring the ball because his team can't do that. Where KD has the luxury of wanting to turn it on and off because he's around amazing players all the time. LeBron doesn't have that luxury.
I can't call KD the best player in the NBA.
Absolutely not.
First of all, he doesn't
he's
make
definitely
players
a more
around him
efficient
better.
player than
He doesn't make players around him better at all. He's a scorer on the offensive end. That's it. He doesn't create well for other players. He doesn't rebound well, and his court vision is average.
I just think we can't grade KD and say he's the best player until I see him outside of Golden State. Because before that, we were all trashing him.
Let me just add this too. I think in order for you to say that, like a player is the best in the league or to even kind of make that argument is you got to look at their character too. So when you look at like LeBron, for instance, LeBron, he personally himself, he attracts other players. He wants to bring other people in rather than going looking for those things like right off the bat.
Well, LeBron's a leader.
Which is, look at what KD. So in OKC, year after year, they weren't able to get, successful championships and weren't looking to get that. So what did he do? He had to go to the team that were eliminating him out of the playoffs. So I think it would have been different if he were to, have the character to maybe, stick around and have put the pieces in place for him to succeed. But for him to kind of just go the other way and look for that somewhere else, I think says a lot too.
I feel like Nando hits it right on the nose. And there's certain intangibles that I feel like have to be there for you to be considered the best player in the league. And like I said 2 seconds ago, KD's not a leader. And I think if you're going to be the best player in the NBA, you have to be a leader. You have to be able to lead a team. And KD cannot lead a team. We've seen it over and over again. He's not even the leader on
his
on the
own
Warriors.
team. Yeah,
On his current
it's
team.
Steph.
Well,
It's
because Steph was there originally, and that team,
Bro.
all those teammates are familiar with Steph.
But he was the number one guy in OKC, and he didn't even lead that team.
It was Russ. Because KD
Well-
doesn't have that character to step up
yeah,
and be that leader.
and Russ is such an overpowering personality.
Maybe.
I feel like they automatically default to him
Okay,
as a
Yeah, but that
That's
says a
still
lot
doesn't
about
mean
that KD's character, where he's okay with taking the back seat. If you're the leader, if you're the real number one guy, you don't take a back seat to no
And
one.
I guarantee if it was Giannis and Russ, Giannis is the leader. If it's LeBron and Russ, LeBron is the leader of that team.
When you're that kind of caliber player, you don't take the back seat to anyone. Bottom line, and KD takes the back seat to a lot of other players on a consistent basis.
KD is a great player, second best player, and one of the best players we've ever seen play the game. But as long as LeBron's alive and breathing
Yeah,
and dribbling, he is the best player in the league.
hands down.
So if you're comparing both careers, both
Oh,
average
gosh.
about 27 points. Both average around 7 rebounds.
I agree, Nando. I see your face right now. You're like, why is he doing this?
I'm just telling you statistically.
I'm telling you right now, LeBron is top 10 in points, rebounds, assists. The only player to ever do that, KD is not going to do that.
Really? Maybe not assists because
Doug, if you want to make this,
He doesn't create for his team. He doesn't make his team better.
if you want to make
career-wise, let me just finish telling you his career
All right, go
stats.
ahead.
Both average 27 points, roughly like 0.1 difference. Both averages 7 rebounds. Difference, KD averages 4.8 assists. LeBron averages 7.2. Not a huge difference.
That's a big difference.
Huge difference.
And then shooting percentage, LeBron's at 50.4 and then KD's at 48.8. So not a huge difference between career-wise.
Okay,
Who has more rings?
What did you just do? Like that did not.
Actually, they're both tied for rings. Oh no,
No.
LeBron has one more right now.
bro, it doesn't matter. KD,
He's the more gifted scorer. I'll give him that.
yeah, he's a better offensive talent. I would say absolutely, but
Yeah.
there's two sides of the ball, and
I don't even think LeBron's good at defense anymore.
okay, yeah,
But
but
he's older now, man.
he's
But-
older.
But you said it yourself. KD has the luxury of picking and choosing when to play defense. I guarantee you right now, if LeBron's in the playoffs, he can turn on that mentality and shut anyone down.
And KD's been doing that
Listen,
for the playoffs.
if LeBron is on the Golden State Warriors, they're 16-0 and holding the chip right now.
First of all, the Warriors are never selling LeBron James.
Oh, okay, but
But he-
Doug,
you're
for the
missing point.
hypothetical,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying
State
if you
facts.
replace the players, it's
I
completely
guarantee you if
different.
LeBron's on that team, he doesn't give up. They don't give up that 31-point lead.
Absolutely not. LeBron
doesn't
will
allow
never
that.
let that happen.
LeBron doesn't allow that. Guarantee that because LeBron's probably the most focused player in the league, and he won't allow his team to do that.
And to be fair to KD,
So how focused were the Lakers this season?
and you attribute that all to LeBron?
You just said LeBron won't let that happen. He literally caused chemistry issues with the Lakers this entire season.
No,
No,
he
he
did
did
not.
not, bro.
Oh my God.
You reportedly said that you blame that mostly
that's
on
different,
coaching.
Doug, because what we're talking about here is in the span of a game on the actual, on the court. It's different when you got to look at operations and personnel, people bringing in different people and the way that they mesh with the coaching. When we're looking, we said about the 31-point comeback, like that's something that he can have control of in the game. But the Lakers thing, that has so many other
But this
factors
is coming from
involved.
Doug saying that, and this is coming from the guy that podcast number 2 said that he blames the Lakers' struggles on coaching and the front
No, I
office.
did not blame it on coaching. I specifically defended Luke Walton. I blamed it on the GM, and I blamed LeBron
Okay.
on the chemistry issues with trying to trade away
No,
those
you
players.
didn't. If you want, I'll cut.
All right,
I'll cut
cut
that
it
audio.
out. Cut it out right now.
into this
I
podcast.
defended Luke Walton. I blamed it on the GM, and I blamed LeBron for the chemistry
Absolutely
issues.
not.
And fight.
Absolutely not.
Nah, I mean, okay, we're not going to change Doug's mind. He thinks KD.
Well, because he's a homer, so he's going to be biased towards KD, of course. But unfortunately, Doug doesn't live in the real world.
Doug
Oh
is
my
very
God.
biased. I will say that, Doug. I will say that. Just being completely honest, because Nando can attest for this. Before KD was on Golden State, he was cursing KD's name left and right.
Yeah, because I hated playing against him.
No.
I always respected
But that's
him.
the definition of bias, though. If you know a guy's good, you're going to say it regardless. But I feel you. I understand where you're coming from, because when KD's a Knick, I'm going to call him the best player in the league.
This guy right here. Well,
Give it like 4 months. We'll revisit this topic, and I'll be like, nah, KD's the best.
all right.
We'll
He's got
see,
that
guys.
he's got that New York jersey on. He's the best.
That's funny. Let's move on.
Uh, The next thing I guess I want to talk about is baseball. And I know I see you guys' faces. You guys know that I go on my rants when it comes to baseball.
Don't worry, we have you on a timer this time, guys. For everybody listening, you can applaud me.
No. I think the one thing I want to talk about
where's the booze?
As we're coming, shut up. As we're coming up at the end of the first month, is what teams have really exceeded expectations and what teams have been under and below expectations. I think case number one of underperforming is the Red Sox.
Yeah, the Sox look pretty bad so far this first month.
I think they're 13-17. Their pitching is terrible. They can't get their offense together.
Yeah, right now they're 14-17.
Sorry, 14,
close.
17.
Well, that's what happens when you party with Gronk in the offseason.
So that brings me to my next question. Do you think that's a World Series hangover, and do you think they'll right their ship eventually, or do you think it's time to panic?
It's a hangover. I don't think you can panic this early into the season.
I don't think you can panic this early in the season, but there has been some things that have come up that worry me a little bit. So their bullpen.
Yeah, definitely some things they have to change.
Their whole pitching staff.
David Price is pitching good. He's the only one that's
pitching all right.
Chris Sale's pitching terrible. Who knows what's going on there?
Porcello's garbage. ERA is 7, whip over 2. It's not good.
They don't have anybody in their bullpen that can go to consistently besides maybe like Brazier, but you can't go to the same reliever every single night. I don't think that they're well equipped to make another run this year.
I think at the end of the day, the Red Sox will make the playoffs again. I don't know.
Let me ask you this. At what point would you start worrying if you were the Red Sox or if you were the
I give them one more month.
No way, man. Baseball is so long. I think a little bit after the All-Star break. That's when you gotta start worrying, I would believe.
Because in that division that's so competitive, remember the Rays are good, the Yankees are playing good baseball, you got them.
The Blue Jays, say it.
No.
The Blue Jays?
The Orioles
the 14 and 13
are not going to be competitive to anyone. But when you have that good of teams in your division, you can't wait till after the All-Star break to turn it on. By then, the half of the season's already gone.
No, I'm not saying that's when you have to wait to turn it on, but I'm saying if you're not good by then, that's when you kind of got to start panicking. I don't think we panic after 2 months into baseball.
I think if they still have a losing record, I think if they're still below 500 by the second week of June, you start thinking, okay, what's going on? Like, you got to make some changes.
I think they'll turn it around. I think they're just too talented not to.
I think...
Yeah, their hitting's on slump right now. So once that starts picking up.
Yeah, they got too many good guys for them to be this bad for this long.
But I just feel like last year, a lot of those guys just had career years and had, out of their mind seasons, right? Like, so there's guys on that team that don't really play, that aren't top tier guys that played like they were last season. I think the biggest thing is, you got Jackie Bradley Jr., who's your starting center fielder, one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. He's not a guy that's going to hold up his end of the bargain in terms of offense, right? I think the only guys that you can lean on in that lineup are Mookie, JD. I'll give you Xander, but even Xander had.
What about Benintendi?
Benintendi's decent, but he's not a guy that you can lean on in the offense. And then Bogarts had a massive year last year, and I don't think he's the kind of player that can do that season after season.
Yeah, I don't think any of us is saying they're going to win the World Series again.
I think if they,
but I don't think they
Series,
keep the current form.
I don't think so either. But I think if they make the playoffs, they make it as a wild card team.
I can see that
because I think the Yankees have that division.
You know who is in good form, and who I think will turn it around a little bit, is the Yankees. They started off a little slow, but look at them.
So I think that's a testament to their depth. So their entire team is on the injured list right now.
Yo, Luke Voit is a boss.
Oh, he's a beast, and he's part of the reason why they're playing so well.
Bro, he was born to be a Yankee. Have you seen him? Like his interviews, he's in a tight Guido shirt, chains out, glasses on, bro. It's great. I hate the Yankees, but I love the whole persona.
I think it's great that they're playing so well when they don't have any of their key guys, and then that really sets them up for success as their guys start coming back. As soon as Aaron Judge gets back onto the field, as soon as Stanton gets back onto the field, that makes that they don't have to worry about making up lost time because they're winning games right now. Gary Sanchez is having a better year than he did last year. So he's having a bounce back year, what it looks like to be a bounce back year. I think that's a big, big X factor for them.
Yeah.
And their pitching is doing nice right now. Right now, they're top 10 in ERA as a team.
And which I would think their best pitcher on the team still haven't rejoined them yet. In Severino.
Oh, Severino, yeah.
Well, who knows how he bounces back after the second half of last year, because he played pretty poorly after having a massive first half. Another team that I want to highlight that kind of I think is the biggest surprise so far is the St. Louis Cardinals. The St. Louis Cardinals.
They started slow.
But they're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They technically have the best record in baseball right now. They're hot.
That's because my boy Ozuna is the hottest guy in the last.
Ozuna, he's
with the most fire name in baseball, Marcelo Ozuna. Like, come on,
that's pretty. Yeah,
that's dope.
I think them getting Goldschmidt, it was obviously a big pickup for them. That transfer,
and I don't think he's even turned it on yet.
He does.
He's been up and down,
but he did it last year too. He had a poor first half, and then he turned it on.
I think once he turns it on, wow. But the only thing that always scares me about the Cardinals is their pitching, and then I feel like they're always a good team, but towards the last month of baseball, you see teams catch them and they start to slump a little.
I think in that division is just so difficult because you have the Cubs.
It's stacked division.
You have the Brewers that are going to have one of the best offenses.
It's those three. Those three are going to be fighting it out.
Yeah. But it's a pleasant surprise. I'll tell you that. Cardinals are always one of those teams that I feel like every year they always have a slight bit of a chance because they have great veteran leadership on the team. They always have good prospects. Like, Harrison Bader's about to come back to the team. He's a big X factor in their lineup. I'm really impressed with the Cardinals. I don't like them, but hey, they're playing great baseball right now.
Yeah, right now the teams that impress me the most right now is going to be the Rays. Top in the league in ERA with not really any, like, if you're not a huge baseball player, like guys that just jump out at you.
And it's crazy because their rotation is Snell, Glasnow, and Morton, and then it's just pitch 2 innings. Pitch 2 innings. Pitch 2 innings. Pitch 2 innings.
Yeah. So exactly. Glasnow's pitching great. Snell's pitching great. Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton pitches is always one of those guys that I feel like you can count on him consistently. And then they're revolutionizing baseball with having the opener reliever and the middle reliever and then the closer reliever. I think that's pretty interesting.
It's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's working well for them apparently.
Those are the batters off.
Yeah, for sure. It's harder the more at bats you see off of a pitcher, the better the timing gets, and usually by the third at bat around you have a bigger advantage. But you can't do that when you're facing five different pitchers.
Yeah, different pitcher.
Yeah,
each time you go up,
you have 4 at bats in a game, and every time it's a different pitcher. So I definitely like it. Who knows if it's sustainable? But yeah, they're another big surprise.
I think he likes it too.
Shout out to Bruno, who wanted to make an appearance on the podcast.
Yeah, my dog Bruno decided to get a little rowdy, unfortunately.
That's what that's what baseball does, rouse you up.
It just gets people hot. The other pleasant surprise. Well, I'm not gonna call it surprise because those guys are studs, but it's Bellinger and Yelich, guys that I feel like all season long are gonna probably end up fighting it out for the NL MVP. If it were up to you guys, who would you guys take versus the two? If you only had to pick one.
If I'm picking the player to keep long term, I would go with Yelich. I think he just has the ability to be more consistent. Like last year, MVP, killed it. Bellinger this year, like he's just hitting home runs like every other game.
No, not just home runs, bro.
Well, yeah, average too, but I'm just saying like he's bombing home runs.
Every hitting statistic. It's crazy.
Average RBIs, home runs. Granted, we're only a month
on base percentage. Yeah. He broke the record for the most RBIs in May.
April. He's
April. Sorry,
playing out of his mind. I do like the versatility he gives you of being able to play first base and multiple outfield positions. But with that said, I think I still go Yelich, and the reason for that is because Bellinger has, even though he's shortened it up a little bit, he has a very, very long swing. And when it comes to long-term longevity and being able to be consistent, like Doug said, the longer your swing, the longer the bat path to the ball, and the harder it is to recreate that swing over time. So you see guys like that with those longer swings When they get hot, they get really, really hot. But when they get cold, they look terrible. So it really just depends on if he short his swing enough to avoid that kind of slump. I think the reason why Christian Yelich is as effective as he is because he has such quick hands and such great bat speed that he gets his bat through the zone so fast. And I think that's going to attribute to long-term consistency.
I think whoever you take, you're in good hands.
Oh, yeah.
Facts.
What's the insurance that's like,
It's Allstate.
It's Allstate. You're in good hands.
Fernando knows. He's been through every insurance that you can be through.
Say that again.
So last baseball topic, we talked about the Yankees a little bit. I want to talk about CC Sabathia hitting 3,000 strikeouts.
This dude.
It's a major accomplishment. I'll give him that. Major accomplishment. 3,000 strikeouts. That's awesome. He's the current wins leader in terms of everyone that's pitching now.
Active players.
Yeah, active players. But I think he's overrated. I think he's extremely overrated.
I think overrated is too overrated for him.
Really? But I feel like who rates him this high for you guys to say he's overrated?
Well, to be honest with you, the past couple of years he's been irrelevant, and then he hits 3,000 strikeouts, and everyone wants to talk about how he's one of the best pitchers of our generation and this and this and that. But in my opinion, he's played how many seasons? 17, 18?
Since 2001.
Yep. This is 18th season right now.
18th season. In 18 seasons, he's only had an ERA under 3 one time. One time in 18 seasons. And typically, what you consider an elite pitcher is a sub-3 ERA. Also, high strikeout guys, right? Guys that are consistently, creating a lot of swings and misses, are guys that are having 200 plus strikeouts a year. He's only done that 3 times in his career, right? So I think he's benefited from being very durable and pitching a lot of innings and playing for a long time. And that's the reason why he has so many wins. And that's the reason why he has so many strikeouts. But I don't consider him one of the best to play the game.
I'm not going to say he's one of the best, but I think you got to give him some credit. I think you guys are being too harsh on CC.
Bro, his career ERA is like a 3.5, bro.
Yeah, that's true, but I think...
Which is very mediocre to say the least.
For any pitcher or any player at any sport to play 18 seasons says a lot. So you got to give him credit there. Especially as a pitcher. We've been on record saying pitchers have a lifespan shorter than... who knows what.
Well, because he's built like a tank, but he's also had the luxury of playing for very good teams.
Yeah, but then you can say that, use that in another way. You say that his ERA is so bad and yada yada, but he's pitched in the toughest division in baseball for 10 years now. All right? I can't tell you a pitcher who's pitched in the AL East and had a great ERA for 10 years. Dude, that's hard.
The year that he was won one Cy Young in 17 years. The year that he won a Cy Young, I think he was like 17-10 with like a 3.4 ERA.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but for me, that doesn't cut it. And I get it, technically speaking, he was pitching towards the end of the steroid era, but I don't think that's an excuse.
I don't know. I think he's a good player.
For me, he had one run where he was considered an elite pitcher, and it was when he got traded to the Brewers for half a season, and he went on an amazing run for them. I think he had like a 2.7 ERA, and then he signed the big contract with the Yankees.
Well, he was 2.7 that whole year. For the Brewers, he was 1.65.
Yeah, he was dominant.
Yeah, and he went 11-2.
And that was the only time that he was ever dominant, that short span. Other than that, he's been average to above average.
I think he's above average. You have to be doing something right to be pitching this long. And I remember a time where CC was one of the best pitchers in the MLB for at least 4 to 5 years.
But I never saw him as one of the best pitchers in MLB.
I did. He's won a ring too. Didn't he win with the Yankees?
Yeah, and look at his like last 5 seasons. He has ERAs of like 4, 5, 6. Like
yeah, he's older though now. He's older and he's still able to give you 14 to 15 wins at that age. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but look at the offense he has behind him.
Yeah, but still,
wins are overrated in baseball. As a pitcher.
I don't think so. Because look at Chris Sale. He can't even get a win right now. It's not overrated. It's tough to win in baseball.
A team wins, of course, are important. But a win for a pitcher doesn't mean anything. Because guess what? If I go out there and I pitch 7 innings and I give up 9 runs, but my team scores 11, I might have a stupid high ERA, but I still get the win.
Until you show me the stats that's how he's winning all his games, and I'm not buying it.
If you look at him having a high ERA, that shows that.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
By him having a career ERA of like 3.6,
3.7,
3.7.
But like I said, look at the division he is pitching in. Show me a pitcher.
He pitched 10 years. He pitched 10 years in Cleveland.
Okay, but still, he still pitched 10 years in the AL East and was we can say one of the best pitchers in AL East and won a ring. It's so tough.
I could say he has a high win total with the Yankees,
which is impressive
that year.
That's not that impressive to me. Wins are overrated in baseball for a pitcher.
Absolutely not. You cannot. I think it's so hard for a pitcher to get a win. There's so many rules that go into it.
All you gotta do is
pitch 5 innings.
5 innings.
No, you have to pitch 6 innings.
No, 5 innings.
Okay, so you guys go out there and pitch 5 innings.
Bro, I'm not an MLB pitcher.
Okay, so he's been doing this for so long, and he's still able to get you wins. You guys, I think you guys just don't like CC. Did he like win a game that you were like betting on or something?
No,
like,
it has nothing to do with that. It has the fact that people overvalue wins.
No,
it's a
100%.
You can't overvalue a win. You play the game to win.
No. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying.
No, I'm not. I understand what you're saying, and I'm telling you you're wrong.
So no. Pause for a second so you can listen to what I'm telling you.
Whoa. You pause. Don't tell me to pause.
Take it easy for a second.
I'm easy. Look at you. You're pretty hype right now.
Eli's sitting up on his chair.
Because that's how you sit, Doug.
The win stat for a pitcher is the most overblown stat for a pitcher in the league. Once again, I'll reiterate myself. You can have a really high ERA, but if you have a high-powered offense behind you, that win means nothing.
I disagree. Absolutely not.
So I can have a 6 ERA, but if my team averages 7 runs a game behind me, and I'm getting all those wins, you're still going to call me a good pitcher? No.
If you're getting me wins, you're a good pitcher.
Absolutely not. I'm sorry.
It's black and white. It's black and white. If you're either winning or you're not. It's simple as that.
No, but that's not attributed to the pitcher then. That's attributed to your badass offense. If you're scoring 8 runs a game, you're scoring 8 runs a game, and you have to score 8 runs a game to win because your pitcher's giving up.
I don't believe that the Yankees have been one of the best offenses for the last 10 years. They've struggled for a while. I don't think... Maybe the last couple years they've been really good, and that's when CC's been older.
They had like a 3-year span where they weren't good.
I think longer than that.
So Eli, let me ask you this question real quick. Who do you think is the best pitcher in baseball right now?
Right now,
based off of this season or just like
this season?
I don't know, man. I don't have an answer for you.
Scherzer or like Snell.
Well, according to Eli's logic, with wins, Zach Greinke's the best pitcher in MLB.
He's a really good pitcher. I didn't say he's the best pitcher. I never said CC was the best pitcher.
I'm just saying you're overvaluing wins. If you think Zach Greinke in this day and age is a good pitcher,
Zach Greinke's a good pitcher.
What's his ERA? Average pitcher. What's his ERA?
3.3.
That's average.
Okay, but he's getting wins on what you would say Arizona does not have a high-powered offense. So there goes your whole theory right there.
Yeah, but they play in a weak division.
Okay, yeah. Now you got another excuse. No, there goes your whole theory. Arizona does not hit home runs and scores a lot of runs, but he's still getting wins.
But if he's averaging...
It says there's so much besides just stats. I think the Yankees are more confident when they know CC's on the mound, and maybe that allows them to hit better.
They haven't been confident in CC in the last 7 years.
Who are you to say that? Who are you to say that?
They were coming 5 years ago. He was talking about retiring because he had alcohol addiction.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So what does that mean?
Just say.
I think it's great. You know that horrible moment in his life, but he still bounced back and is still pitching.
Yeah, but that's besides the point. You saying that they were always confident in them, but they weren't. There's no way you can be confident in a guy that's going.
Well, he can't be still pitching if they weren't confident in him. Exactly.
Well, because they have no one else.
Got nothing to say.
I do have something to say because I'm still talking.
Okay, go ahead. Say it.
They didn't have anyone else to pitch.
You have no facts behind that, so that's wrong.
No, it's been proven. The Yankees farm.
Prove it, please. Show me a certificate that says it.
The Yankees farm system in terms of pitching has always been weak.
Okay, always. So what? What does that mean?
So they can't bring up another pitcher to replace CC because they don't have
Yankees have all the money in the world. They can buy whoever.
Not mid-season, they can't.
Okay, so then if you feel like he's bad, in the offseason, they would have done it. They would have replaced him by now.
But when you're paying a guy that much money, you have to play.
I don't know, man.
You don't have any choice.
Yeah, you're out of strikes here.
So going back to Arizona real quick, just to prove Eli's point, they don't have a good offense. They're actually rated number 5 in runs in the league. So they actually do have a good
so
offense.
Maybe they do, but that has nothing to do with CC Sabathia. We're talking about Arizona.
I'm just disproving your wins are valuable.
For anybody to say
like,
that getting a win is overrated, that's crazy to me. I would disagree.
A win for the team is obviously a big thing.
Yeah.
For the team,
Not
win for the
pitcher.
individual pitcher, it's if you look at all the advanced
So why do pitchers not last that long in the league if wins are so easy to get? Because if you have a pitcher who's winning, you're going to take him regardless.
No one said wins are easy to get.
Oh my gosh! Oh my! Please, rewind
No one said wins
now.
are easy to get because obviously playing the game of baseball
I'm
is
done with you,
difficult.
bro. You literally just sit here and lie to all of our faces. He just said nobody said wins are easy to get when he just said that 10 times.
No, I said wins are overvalued. As a statistic, wins are overvalued.
Oh my god, I'm done with you, bro.
They are.
I'm done.
Let me just throw this out there. You know, as somebody who doesn't follow baseball maybe as much as you guys do, I feel like it's still a testament to him, to CC, because I think that even if he did have a high ERA, you know, all those years, if the Yankees still wanted him to come back, that says something about him.
Exactly. You can't. If you think somebody sucks and he's not contributing, go ahead, bro. You're making my point.
The W's, like, yeah, maybe he had help from the offense, but if they're still having him on the roster year after year after year for those 10 years, that says something.
It has to. He's not in a 10-year contract. Like, they had to re-sign him at one point.
So you tell me the back-to-back years that he has close to 1 year he had a 4 ERA, 1 year he had a 5 ERA, the other year he barely had under a 4
That's
ERA.
fine. I think ERA is overrated. There you go.
No.
Just like your win thing, I think ERA is
Yeah,
overrated.
but now you're just saying that just to
No,
be
I'm not. I
upset
think it's
because
real. I honestly think it's overrated.
So why?
Because I'd rather have wins than ERA. I don't care what ERA is. As long as you're getting wins, that is what I care about. We play for wins, not ERA.
But do you know what ERA means?
Yes, I do.
So how do you win a ball game? You score more runs.
It doesn't matter. Wins. That's how you win a ball game. Wins.
Okay.
CC Sabathia has wins. I don't
ask
care
you
about
this.
your ERA.
No. You
Case
win a
closed.
ball game by scoring runs.
He actually doesn't even have that many wins. but-
Okay, whatever. Well, you're saying
CC?
his whole thing is that he's overrated. His wins are overrated.
He has 247 wins.
That's a lot of wins.
That's a lot of wins in today's game.
17 years.
It's still a lot of wins.
So back to my original point with that, he's benefited from having a very long career, and that's the reason why he has that many wins, of course. Right? We don't really see that pitchers having that long of years. The reason why ERA is not overrated is because you win games by scoring more runs than the other team. So if a pitcher can limit how many runs another team can score and have a low ERA, he is far more effective than a guy that has a high ERA. Case in point, Jacob deGrom last year had a sub-2 ERA and had a shitload of strikeouts. He didn't have a lot of wins, but he still won the Cy Young because he was so effective with his ERA and with his whip.
That's great. I'd rather substitute his ERA for wins. Sorry.
So what I think a better stat is to look
That's
at.
asinine to say.
No, it's not. Fernando, somebody who does not, really pay attention to baseball, and from what you know of it, would you rather have the pitcher who had more wins last year or a better ERA?
I'll be honest, at the end of the day, the Dubs is what matters.
Thank you.
most.
Done.
my
Let's move
God.
on, boys.
I can't believe we're back in the 1970s, but
Dear God, that wins literally mean shit in baseball now. Okay.
quality start
He
is a
just
much
said
better
it again.
stat.
He just said it again.
I didn't
He
say-
said wins means shit in baseball. He just said it again.
That stat
Thank you.
for pitchers means nothing. That stat for pitchers means
It's
nothing.
shit. Quality start is a much better stat to look at.
100%.
Okay.
A quality start because that measures strikeouts, that measures how many runs you're giving out, how many base runners you're giving
And
out.
how long you last.
That literally determines how effective you are as a
All right,
pitcher.
I'd rather have a dub.
All right.
Whatever. That wraps up baseball. Even though these
So
guys
much-
don't know what they're talking about when it comes to baseball.
So much for we're gonna make this quick.
Next thing up, the NFL playoff Super Bowl odds came out. I think this past week, right?
This past week.
And Doug, do you want to read those out for us? Just give us like the top 5.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. Sorry.
Well, in the meantime.
So.
This guy was supposed to have it up and ready.
I have it right here.
All right,
me
let's
talk.
go.
Let me talk.
Let's hear it.
All right. Jeez, I think we're all tense right now.
No, we're not.
But
We're
right
waiting.
now, the New England Patriots are favorites 6-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Surprise.
Yeah, it's nothing new.
Let's see what we got here. We got the Kansas City Chiefs 6-1, Colts 10-1, and Eagles 14-1, and Bears 14-1.
So I think the big
I missed one. Sorry, I have Saints 8-1. They're number 2.
So I think the big surprise there, I would say, is the Colts, right? Even though they're a good,
They're a good team. I think.
You're kind of strong, yeah.
Yeah, they finished really good. I think.
but I still wouldn't
That's
call them a
good
Super Bowl
foreshadowing.
team, though. I don't think they're on the Super Bowl level just yet.
What do you think they're missing?
Obviously they have a really high-powered offense. I think if they get the run game more consistent this year, and they're able to rely on Marlon Mack the whole year, I think that really propels them into an elite offensive team. But I still think they need some help in the secondary.
I think Marlon Mack actually has a pretty good year this year.
He's a good running back.
The Justin Houston pick that they had for just kind of helping the offense out. But I would say because their offense is so high powered on the wide receiving end, it's going to rely heavily on the run game.
And I think they have the best offensive line in football.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
Right,
Without a doubt. Andrew Luck has so much time to throw back there.
Which I'm so happy for him because his whole career he's had a shit O-line.
Yeah, and he's gotten beat up so much, and he's a solid quarterback that I'm ready to start.
He's actually a guy who thought of retiring just because he's taken so many hits.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll be nice to see him be able to play with a team that's matches his caliber.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Patriots? I know we all hate. Well, I don't hate the Patriots. I know you guys definitely dislike them.
I can't stand the Patriots.
Do you think they're deserving?
I think you always got to factor them in just because of the Brady-Belichick effect.
And I don't think they
should. Yeah, I don't think they should be considered the favorite automatically.
Well, them and the Chiefs are tied at 6-1. So.
I would give the edge up to the Chiefs.
I would too.
I feel like the Chiefs lost last year because of lack of experience.
The Tyreek thing could be a big issue.
Yeah, the Tyreek Hill and
does it change if Tyreek gets dropped?
Yeah, it definitely does. Absolutely,
without a doubt.
He's a big part of his
their number one
offense.
weapon.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Well, I would say Pat Mahomes, but then
he's Pat Mahomes' number one weapon.
Yeah, it's Tyreek Hill, and I also think Kareem Hunt losing that is I don't think Damian Williams is gonna keep up, what he did.
No, I
don't think he's that back.
I think the reason why he's had a successful couple games towards the end of the season there was just because it was a change of pace,
different.
Yeah, no one really knew to scout him just yet. You didn't really see how they were going to run the ball with him. I don't think that happened.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle with that.
I think they're going to lean
this. I think it's easier for them to fill the void of Kareem Hunt than it would be for them to fill the void of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I agree. Especially since they're going to be leaning towards the passing game a lot more this year.
Running backs are a dime a dozen in the league unless you have the super elite ones, like the Todd Gurley's, the Saquons, the Zekes.
Hot take while you're saying that. I don't think Todd Gurley's going to have the same year that he does. I think he's on the downhill of his career now.
Well, typically, elite running backs, the top of the guys that are, the kind of the best of the best, they last a little while. I don't think he has it in him to be the best running back in the league, 5 years in a row, like how Adrian Peterson had his run, where he was always the best, or how Le'Veon has been.
I think that injury is really going to affect him. And I don't think the Rams are going to be as good.
Hot take, Saquon becomes the best running back in the league this year.
Wow. I can see it, but I hope not. I still think it's Zeke, but I can see
just because his usage is going to be so high.
It's so hard because
their O-line. I think that's what's going to.
Yeah, that might screw him up.
I'm gonna throw it out there, James Conner.
Oh my God,
he's going to be a good back. He's going to be a good back. I'll take him in fantasy.
I would take him in fantasy too.
If I could get him 5th round. Oh my God.
I think he's gone before the 5th round.
Yeah,
I think he's gone within the first 3 rounds.
Yeah,
he's gone within first 2.
3 or 4 here.
Second round he's taken.
Nando's taking him first. What do you mean?
Middle of the second round, I guarantee it. Maybe if you're playing in a 12-team league, I'd say by pick 16, 17, he's gone.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Just because of the way you're supposed to draft. You draft running back.
Yeah, they're hard to come by.
Like I said, the elite ones are hard to come by, but after that, they're a dime a dozen.
So who you didn't mention, Doug, who's actually a 16-1 favorite to win the Super Bowl?
Oh my God, this trash team.
Jeez.
I don't think they're going to be that trash.
Can I announce the team? Damn. The Cleveland Browns, right? What do you guys think? Are they overrated or are they?
I think right now they have a lot of hype because they've acquired a lot of
absolutely
big players. They got a lot of guys with high ceilings, great skill players.
You think can they put it together?
I think it might take them some time to put it together, but I still think that they're a force to be reckoned with. I don't think they win that division though.
I think they have a poor coach. I don't think that's not going to be a well-coached team.
I think he did pretty good for stepping in.
Yeah, I think he
deserved the contract he got another year. I think that was well deserved.
I mean, it's kind of easy to replace Hugh Jackson,
but I think when they fired Hugh Jackson and you really saw Baker take off.
Yeah,
and I think that's their X factor. I think their season really relies on how well Baker can follow up the second half of his last season. If he can do that, they become a force to be reckoned with, and they become
They're
very,
scary.
very dangerous
On
team.
paper, they're scary.
Very,
Especially
very scary.
The Greedy pick, I love it.
Greedy.
We talked about him before the draft. Super high motor, great athlete. I think I feel like he's a perfect fit in them.
Yeah.
He's another LSU guy to have in there with Jarvis and Odell. Like that's gonna make great team chemistry.
They're a scary team, guys. I don't want to play them.
They're gonna be better than the 49ers.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I disagree with that. I think the Niners are a playoff team, but looking
I think
at
the Browns are a playoff team.
the odds, what really shocked me is the Baltimore Ravens 40-1.
So that's the reason why I say, wait, what they said? You said 41? Oh, I thought you said 4-1.
No, 40-2-1.
No, I think they're better than that.
Yeah, they're way better than that considering Steelers are 20-1. You telling me Steelers are twice as likely to win the Super Bowl?
So
I like the Ravens as the number one team in that division.
that's crazy. I actually don't see the Ravens making the playoffs this year.
I think they make it as a wild card team just because of inexperience.
I
but
think they're
they
the
have
third
that-
best team. I don't know.
In that division?
In that division, I still like the Steelers as the best team.
Oh, I disagree.
I still think the Steelers are the best team, man. Until proven wrong, I think last year was just a fluke, and they had a lot going on. But I think they got rid of the distractions, and I think they're all ready to go. I think that's the team people are forgetting about.
Nando, being a Steelers fan, how do you feel about them?
I think Eli hit it right on the money. I think last year was such a distraction. I think that Mike Tomlin has too much knowledge and he's too good of a coach to let this kind of opportunity go to pass. I feel like we did a great pickup with Devin Bush there for the linebacker position that we needed. So I don't think that Baltimore necessarily can get over that hump and make it to that to the first spot in the division. I think they compete with Cleveland for the wild card spot. But I do think that the Steelers have a bounce back year and they make it into the playoffs.
And I'm very intrigued to see how Lamar Jackson plays this year with more tape on him now.
Well, with the
Well, you know
Steelers,
he's gonna run the ball a lot.
I think Big Ben is
Yeah.
done.
So what?
Yeah, I think
what?
Big Ben is done.
It's so hard to say.
So-
He still plays elite year after year after year.
If you look last year, he didn't play elite.
One of the best years of his
Oh,
career.
bro, he had a phenomenal year
Because
last
his
year.
receiving playmakers were amazing. but-
Yeah, but he still had a great year.
So I think their X factor is going to come down to how well Juju can perform as the number one guy. If Juju can be the number one guy and be an effective number one receiver for them and be a top tier talent, and James Conner follow up as well, if those two guys perform, they're fine.
And just knowing the Steelers, they produce wide receivers. Somebody's gonna emerge.
Yeah.
Like just
That's
because
what
they're wearing a
everybody's
Pittsburgh
expecting.
Steeler helmet.
But-
It's
But
crazy.
the one thing that still pisses me off about the Steelers year after year, especially recently, is that they do play to the level of their competition. And I
Yeah.
know we've talked about this before, Eli, and that does piss me off because
Yeah,
games
that's
that
their
we should
one
be
issue.
winning, we lose, or we end up tying or something like that.
Yeah, I would
I-
agree.
That's very telling
Getting
of the amount of focus a team has. And we talked about it last week
Yeah,
with the
exactly.
Warriors, right? When a team can't plays to the level of their competition, that's straight lack of discipline, lack of focus in a game like football where it's all about discipline.
And I
focus.
think that had all to do with the locker room. And I think they've fixed those issues.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
I don't think they make the playoffs. That's my hot take.
I don't think they make the playoffs
Doug,
either.
Doug, you want to make it a little interesting?
Sure.
Ooh,
All
another bet on the podcast?
Let's do a hundo.
Ooh,
A hundo.
on the
Hundo.
Steelers making the playoffs.
All right. I'll
You
do
sure? So are we gonna solidify that on the podcast?
Well, why don't you guys do 100 for whoever's team has the best record? The 49ers versus
I'd rather
Steelers.
do. I think I'm better off with this. I think that's a separate hundo.
Ooh. So
Let's
he's
do
saying
separate hundo.
$200.
All right, let's do 50 then. 50 each.
50,
All right, 50 on the
for each
Steelers,
bet.
and then 50 saying the Niners have a better record.
We got a bet.
Hey.
It's a bet. It's a bet. Oh,
All right.
man.
We'll see.
Doug, I think you might be screwed.
Hey, I take Cash App, Nando.
So we're talking about football. I want to talk about the other football, right? Talk about soccer.
Football.
Some football.
Oh yeah.
So I think the big news story today with soccer, Messi 600 goal, right?
Yeah.
He did it in 100 less games than Ronaldo, right?
100 plus. I think it's like
More-
Like,
a
it's
little
like
bit more than
100 and
100.
like 116
Little bit over
games less
yeah.
or something like that.
It's an irrelevant stat, but sure.
I think that spurs. It's always going to happen when you're talking about one of those two guys. It spurs the conversation again of Messi versus Ronaldo. So I want to see where you guys lie with that.
So, if anybody knows Doug, he's not the best soccer player in the world. But if Doug played 18 years in La Liga, he would score 600 goals in that amount of time too.
What a try!
But he did it. He did it in less games than Ronaldo did it. Ronaldo played close to 800 games.
Can I get that La Liga contract?
Oh, but like I said, if you play in La Liga, where you're playing teams like Eibar 5 times a year, versus Ronaldo for the good 6 years has played in the toughest division in soccer, especially in the hardest part of the Premier League. Like back in the days when Ronaldo was in the Premier League, bro, there was guys like John Terry and stuff like that where it was brutal to play in the Premier League. And with that being said, 6 years of football in that league is tough to score.
Considering that the only Eibar I know is the one in downtown Orlando, I agree with you.
Oh my god!
I mean, I'm down to hit it up after this, honestly.
Hey, let's go get a drink after this. Nando, what do you have to say about that?
Let me just say this.
Oh man, the way he came off.
Let's get it going here. So, I agree that for him to have the versatility to play in different leagues, and that's awesome. And for him to have the level of success that he's had, great. But for you to say that La Liga is not a difficult league to play in, or maybe that it's not as much of a task as that amount of goals in that a short amount of a time, that's insane. You know what I mean?
Not taking anything away from Messi.
Messi produces the things that he does on the pitch. That 600 goal mark, that's evidence of what he does on the pitch. And I personally believe that he would be able to do those things if he were to go to Italy, or if he were to go to
So you're telling me if he played in Italy right now or in the Premier League, he would have the same amount of success he's having right now?
No, he's not scoring, I don't think, 600 goals.
Absolutely not.
To get those tallies up. I think it's a little bit different in La Liga the way it's done, but I still think he produces. And I still think he actually gets the same production.
So Fernando, let me ask you this. If you're saying Messi versus Ronaldo, who's the better player?
I've always said it like this. Ronaldo.
No. Listen. Before you answer that,
before you do your typical on the fence.
Yeah, you're not allowed to play the fence here. You need to tell me who you think is the better player. No more playing the fence.
First, and I'll tell you
okay. Just let him go. Let him go.
Let the fence be.
I mean, Ronaldo was made to play soccer. Messi was born to play soccer. All right, but at the end of the day, I hate to say this. I really do, and it pisses me off. And it pisses me off, it really does. But I feel like it's 1A Ronaldo, 1B Messi.
And the reason why it is, because
that's a hot take.
Like we've said, Messi's only playing Barcelona, and Barcelona was catered for Messi. They played through him. If you look at the amount of touches Messi takes in a game versus the amount of touches Ronaldo takes in a game, it's a huge difference. Where the way Barcelona plays, pass the ball to Messi, Messi passes it out. Pass the ball back to him as they dribble up the field. They play through him. Where Ronaldo, he gets 4 or 5 chances in a game to make a play.
But you act like Real Madrid doesn't play in order to feed the ball to Ronaldo as well, bro. Like,
they don't, because they try to feed it to Benzema because he doesn't play there.
Many times when he did in Madrid, especially what he does in Juventus now. You know what I mean? He's still the main guy on the. He's still the main.
Oh, absolutely. They feed it to him, but not as much. But what I'm saying is he's not on the ball like Messi. He gets so many more touches.
He's not like in the midfield, and he's not gonna maybe.
What Eli is saying is that,
but Messi's creating more of those opportunities himself. It's not like he's just, getting the ball every single time. He maybe gets more touches, but I feel like he's the one.
Answer me this question: Why is it Messi?
Random touches that he's getting.
Okay, why is Messi not as good internationally? Because that's the only other team we've seen him play on is Argentina.
But hold on, but don't act like Ronaldo's had a ton of international success either.
He has a lot more.
He has had a lot more compared to Messi, but that's not saying a lot either.
It's not, but at least he has a title. He's won the second best, thing you could win as an international player outside the World Cup, which not a lot of people can say they've won a World Cup, which is the Euros. He won it 2 years ago, which is one of the most impressive things you can do, especially with that Portugal team that's not great. When you think of Portugal, you can't name me another player if you're not a soccer fan.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of household names.
Exactly. Where Argentina, I'm saying, like, you got guys like Higuain, Aguero, Dybala, Di Maria. If you put Ronaldo on that team, bro, they win back-to-back World Cups. Guaranteed.
Damn.
I don't know about that.
That's ballsy.
Guaranteed.
Those guys, they wouldn't be getting the same. Like, Ronaldo will still be getting fed the ball. You know, the ball will still be going through Ronaldo as well.
I'll tell you this: Ronaldo doesn't misses a penalty kick against Chile to win a South American Cup. Sorry?
You act like Ronaldo's never missed a penalty kick before.
Not in big moments.
Bro,
not when it counts.
Messi. Let me just say this: the reason why Messi may have not been that successful with Argentina, a couple factors. The coaching, you know, the fact that they haven't always played Di Maria along with them. They haven't been able to play all the guys you're saying. Maybe if they were able to kind of produce those players on the pitch at the same time, it'd be a little bit different. But I don't think you can say that if you were to put Ronaldo in Argentina, then automatically they'd have 2 back-to-back World Cups. That's crazy. That's insane.
No, it's not, because I just said it.
I think it's a little bit insane, even though I like Eli's points.
Bro, back-to-back World Cups.
okay, it's maybe just a little
Maybe
insane.
they're a better contender for back-to-back World Cups.
I think they definitely win one, man. The
But
guy
to say they win.
So here's the difference, right? All this talent Messi has surrounded him. He's not a leader. And that's why I've always said Ronaldo's the better player. He's a leader on the pitch. It doesn't matter who he has or the talent behind him.
So it's kind of going back to LeBron versus KD.
Oh, absolutely. LeBron and Ronaldo are the same. KD and Messi are the same. That's kind of how I see it.
I'll give you that.
I just think that what Ronaldo does on the pitch so well is score. And that's absolutely true. But I think Messi brings so much more than that. He brings the build-up play. He brings the creation of the goal. He starts it off.
He's saying Messi's a better playmaker.
He doesn't just,
I disagree because Messi had 2 of the best midfielders of all time to play with him, which is Xavi and Iniesta. Imagine Ronaldo in his prime playing with Xavi and Iniesta. Can you imagine how many more goals he would have?
But you act like he wasn't also playing with like legends back when he was in Man United. You know what I mean?
He was, but like I said, Man United, it's a different league. It's harder to score in that league.
But even when he was playing with Real, he was playing with some of the best players in the world.
He was playing with good players,
Luka Modric there, which are phenomenal passers.
And that's why they have so many.
Like Iniesta and Xavi, but they're world class, going to be legendary passers of the game themselves.
Yeah, they'll be good, and that's why Ronaldo won back-to-back Champions League title.
All right, but then bring back Xavi, bring back Iniesta, and then who knows what Barcelona could have won.
Well, they had an opportunity. They won a couple, definitely. But I don't think it was as dominant and as great as what Ronaldo has done on the pitch. I just think he's a born leader. I'd rather go to battle with Ronaldo than Messi any day.
I disagree. I think what Messi does in general as a whole it's not just goal scoring. It's what he does as a whole. I
think we also think of Ronaldo today and we just think of goals. But if you go back and watch Ronaldo in Man U, that guy is a phenomenal dribbler. I think he has more skill than Messi. He's had more skill than Messi.
Okay, but choose the words very carefully. Because you say like skill, like you talk about like not touch.
Like if there's a skills challenge, Ronaldo's winning it.
Bro, you sleep, bro. If you were to tell me right now that Messi doesn't have a good skill,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Messi's the second best in everything he's done.
Yo, Eli's just trying to piss off everyone today.
Facts.
All right, name me. What is he worse at than Ronaldo than, like, let's say...
Okay. Let me tell you guys something. When you break... We're not even talking about soccer. When you break down an athlete, you do a combine, right? That's normally, how you get a gist of how good they are.
But I don't know if that's the best, like, it's the most indicative way of
saying it. Okay, besides that.
Ronaldo was made, and he's built like a machine. He's made to play that position, to play so extra, so well.
So
when he was born...
Okay, so when I look at it...
with that finesse. Like, he's not the most greatest specimen out there, obviously, but the things that he does at the small size that he is,
he's phenomenal. I'm not trying to say he's bad. I don't want to get that misconstrued, but look, Ronaldo has a better right foot than Messi. He has a better left foot than Messi. He has a better header than Messi.
You're absolutely insane if you say he has a better left foot than Messi.
Okay, maybe not. Okay, let me say this. He has a better weak foot than Messi.
He does.
Oh, I think you said left foot.
I did say that.
He did say left.
I did, but you're right. He has a better weak foot.
Ronaldo,
right?
For sure. I think even if you don't know soccer very well, you know that Ronaldo has a better weak foot.
I'll give you that. I'll give Ronaldo has a better weak foot than.
And he's better in the air with his head.
Well, that's because he's a bigger guy.
Well, considering that Messi's Nando size,
physical attributes, and he's gonna have a better thing.
Not just that, but there's a lot of tall, big guys who can't do what Ronaldo does. What he does is phenomenal.
He's a bigger, more athletic guy than
he is, and he could score many more ways. And you sleep on his passing and assists. bro. And I think
you sleep on Messi's passing.
I don't sleep because he's known for that. He's
one of the best passers in the world.
Yes, but I'm not sleep on it. It's known. But I love watching when Ronaldo scores a goal, your mouth drops. When Messi scores a goal, you're like, oh, okay, that's nice, you know, ooh, wow.
But is that more indicative of the way?
Diminish the value of that goal.
It doesn't.
But is that more indicative of the way that Barca plays?
Exactly.
Because they play a very methodical, very like slower paced game.
Like, let me tell you this: I feel like Messi could go to Real Madrid and still be able to maybe not produce as much, but still be able to produce. But I don't know if Ronaldo could play tiki taka like Messi could.
You're sick in your head.
I honestly don't know. He's never played tiki taka before. So
if I put Messi with the passing that Barcelona does, man, he'll be having so many one-on-one opportunities that it's crazy.
Oh,
I don't know. I feel like it's Messi produces just so much. That's just my argument right there.
Yeah, I'm glad you already admit though.
Today's episode was Eli versus everyone.
So after round 3 of Eli's boxing match, let's move on to Champions League.
Damn, I might have to throw in the white towel.
He's too tired. He can't go on anymore. He can't argue no more. Let's give a quick rundown of the Champions League recap. Go ahead, Nando.
Yeah, so we saw yesterday the first leg between Tottenham and Ajax. It was actually a pretty good game, but at the end of the day, Ajax they were able to get away with a 1-0 dub.
Crazy.
I can't remember what the predictions were last week that we had.
I picked Ajax. I have them going all the way, man. I love that young team.
Oh, they're playing the way that they play. They just expose so many like holes on the defense there, and then the guys they're young, but they're pretty poised.
I think the thing about Ajax, they have nothing to lose, and there's no expectations for them.
And when the team's playing like that, they're dangerous.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you have nothing to lose, man, you're dangerous.
And that's what I was saying. I was worried. That was the one team I didn't want to face, which is why I wanted Tottenham to win. And I actually picked Tottenham to win because of that. Because
I did as well. I got that.
Out of all of them, I would like to see them least because of that, and like the way that they're playing is just they're finding the holes, they're finding the opportunities, and they're taking advantage of them. And then today we had the Barcelona-Liverpool game, and I called it, bro. I told you from last week that Liverpool was not going to come up to the Camp Nou and be able to produce. And look, a 3-0 dub.
I was wrong.
Very easy dub for them.
Wow.
And the free kick that Messi had was
absolutely
filthy.
Right,
hats off. I've seen Ronaldo make better free kicks, but hats off to Messi.
No. Hats off to Messi because I know a big thing that people have against Messi is they feel like he doesn't score. He can't score outside of the box very well. He doesn't have the leg for it. I feel like that's a detraction that everyone always gives him. That he scores all his goals.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of goals outside the box from him, but I will say in the last couple of years, I do think, and this is very tough for me to say, he's the best free kick taker in the last couple of years.
Yeah, best
he's absolutely
set piece
from there, and it's true.
The most dangerous, I would say.
And that was a title that I feel like Ronaldo had for a long time.
Yeah, he's gotten older. I don't even think he takes as much now, but Messi's hats off.
Yeah, I think Suarez did a pretty good job, against Van Dijk in that defense there.
Oh, let's talk about Suarez, the piece of shit that Suarez is.
Listen, that ball through to Suarez and the finish was a phenomenal goal.
Great goal, right?
Jordi Alba's pass was disgusting.
It was so on point.
Great goal, but there's an unspoken rule in soccer. When you score against your former team, you do not celebrate as much or as in your face as you would facing any other team. This guy Suarez didn't give a damn.
I feel like that would make me want to celebrate more that it was against my old team.
Facts.
I would want to be the most amount of extra.
Well, maybe if you left on bad terms. Liverpool gave Suarez what he wanted. There was no animosity. It's just a respect thing.
But it's not like he did it at Liverpool. This was at the Camp Nou. This was in front of all the fans. He's been there for 5 years. Like, this is his club now. This is him producing for his club.
I guess, but I just feel like any man with some respect. I mean, he's not a human though. He's a rabbit, so I mean, I can't hold him to the same standards.
Look in baseball when Bryce Harper hit his first home run against his old team.
Baseball's different though.
He flipped the hell out of that bat.
Baseball is different.
People are always going to do
Baseball's a little bit more disrespectful than soccer.
I'll tell you this though, I don't think Coutinho would celebrate.
Absolutely not, because he's a man of class.
Coutinho wouldn't, but Suarez would. Because Suarez is more real. He's
like I said, he's not a human. He's a rabbit. Look at him.
Eli, that's mad disrespectful, bro. That's mad.
The dude's crazy.
Anyways,
He's hopping out there like Bugs Bunny, scoring goals.
Biting people like bunnies.
Ajax. I hope Ajax doesn't come out on top. I hope Tottenham, can kind of square it away and then maybe they go to penalties or something. But I think that Ajax actually can maybe win 2-1 or something like that. And I think Barcelona maybe wins 3-1, second leg, 2-0.
No, Anfield's hard to play. I think Liverpool wins the second game 2-1, but definitely not enough to get through.
Yeah, not enough to get through. So and then you guys both have Barcelona versus Ajax. Who do you think wins in that matchup?
I gotta go Barcelona. I just feel like they haven't been producing for the past couple of years. This opportunity is too big for them not to get this dub. I feel like they have to. Even though that makes us more susceptible, but they're gonna get the job.
If Messi ever loses to Ajax in the Champions League final, my lord, I'll be so happy to do another podcast the day after.
Let me just say, Ajax FIFA rating is gonna go through the roof next year.
Yeah.
All right, and I think that wraps up this week's episode. We talked about everything that we wanted to talk about. Had some heated debates. It was a good episode.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next time I get to talk to you goobers.
Once again, check us out on social media, Prospect Talk _, on both Twitter and Instagram.
Website's coming soon.
Website coming soon. Once again, it's coming soon. Subscribe, like on YouTube. Check us out on SoundCloud,
Instagram, Twitter, everything. Get at us.
We out there.
Eli was featured last week on the Instagram. Now it's gonna be our boy Nando's turn, so you can see the Mr. Basura himself.
If you guys don't know him, he's just a fence. So you just see a fence on the Instagram post.
We're gonna post a picture of a fence and a trash can. You guys gotta pick which one it is.
I thought we were doing me, not Doug.
Oh man.
All right. With that said, we're out.
Peace.